I read in the newspaper that billionaire philanthropist Joan Kroc donated $1.5 billion to the Salvation Army for the express purpose to build community centers for the underserved, for children who deserved and needed a place to learn to be an athlete or to engage themselves in activities that could take them to another level.
Probably what stood out the most is the great need we had for a community center in this area and what it might provide for us. So the standout was, why not try?
We didn't really feel we had much of a chance, but we had a very compelling case, and because we were underserved.
This missing piece, which is so significant for our community, would truly benefit 200,000 people in North Idaho.
Aquatics was a huge need in our area. We needed a place to teach water safety.
When you live in a community surrounded by lakes and you don't know how to swim, and where do kids go to learn to swim?
So my role at the time of the proposals for the Kroc Center was the Divisional Secretary for Business in Seattle. And as we talked about the three proposals that we had, one from Seattle, one from Tacoma, and the third from Coeur d'Alene, we would sit in the boardroom and we'd talk about these three places. And it was the consensus of everybody in the boardroom that it would either be Seattle or Tacoma, that really Coeur d'Alene didn't really have a chance.
To become a contender for this facility was really a long shot.
Coeur d'Alene was the little city that knew that it could.
We figured this is our last shot. This is our best and last shot.
We didn't think that we would lose. We just figured we had no chance.
There was a lot of pent-up excitement and the recognition that finally we had an opportunity to solve a problem that had indeed been a problem for our area for many, many years.
If they just heard us, felt our spirits, felt what we were able to convey, that it would make no sense to choose anybody else but us.
You know, Seattle and Tacoma, it was always difficult to work within the government and the communities. There was always people vying for what they could get out of it. But when we came here to Coeur d'Alene, from the mayor to the city council to the business leaders to the community at large, there was just this incredible desire to support and help us to get this done. And they did it not just through the words, but through the resources. They said, we're going to get behind you and help you to do this.
I vividly remember the day when we gathered in the city council chambers and dignitaries from the Salvation Army came and told us in a very emotional moment that Coeur d'Alene had won one of the grants.
The room just erupted in applause and just people so excited that we had done it.
As exciting as that was, we knew that a lot of the work remained.
It was not unlike when you're hiking and you go over your first mountain and you think that's the only pass that we need to go over, and then you see the mountain behind and it's even higher.
Well, Joan Kroc was very smart. When she gave this gift to the Salvation Army, she really believed that the local community needed to participate in the giving towards it. So she gave us X number of dollars to build the facility. She gave us X number of dollars to endow the facility in perpetuity. But she really believed that a local community needed to be invested in this through the giving of their own resources to make this a reality.
There, I will tell you, I think we had our doubts at times. $8 million had never been raised in this city locally or in this region locally.
A lot of people said there's just no way that we're going to do that. The largest fundraising campaign to that point had been $2.4 million at North Idaho College.
We developed a fundraising campaign and went to people we thought would want to see something like this happen.
We were able to then put together one of the most extensive fundraising efforts ever accomplished in our area.
It was exciting to see people, both individuals, families, corporations, businesses, sign on for small and large contributions to make this effort happen.
People were generous beyond words, finding ways to raise funds, donate funds, pledge funds.
It was really Major John Chamness and the other part of the Salvation Army and the other members that helped us say, I don't think you realize you're potential in your own city, and they were right, and they encouraged us, and we were able to fulfill that goal.
2 years of construction are over, and Coeur d'Alene's Kroc Center opens its doors Monday. The new facility sits on 12 acres just off I-90 on Gulf.
And the Kroc Center was funded by a grant and community donations. Doors open officially bright and early Monday morning. Reporting
the day the doors were finally opened for the Kroc Center, fully built and staffed up and ready to go, it was arguably one of the most exciting days I think our community has ever seen.
I was standing right inside the front doors when the doors opened, and the community began to pour in.
The doors weren't big enough. There were people everywhere. And yet, in that confusion, there was a level of peace and excitement that was amazing.
The crowds were just nonstop. People standing in line for weeks and weeks and weeks.
I mean, it's so overwhelmingly positive, it's hard to even quantify it. We had consultants that were hired to look at whether this business model would work or not.
They had helped us build this business model that had around 2,500 members at the end of the first year, with around 678 people daily coming through the center, and maybe by the end of 5 years we would have around 5,000 people. So we had this business model that had been built.
At the end of the first month or so, we were at 14,000 members, and shortly thereafter, the community center was at 20,000 members.
Coeur d'Alene's Salvation Army Kroc Center is already surpassing expectations. Crowds continue to show up.
It seemed like everyone wanted to be a part. Everyone wanted to come. Everyone wanted to see what opportunities existed here.
Demand is so high to join, it's become routine to see a long line of people waiting to sign up in the lobby.
The reason I think people responded that way is because there was this huge hole in our community. There wasn't a public swimming pool. There wasn't a community center. There wasn't a place where we could all gather together to recreate, to participate in the arts, to participate in a myriad of community events. So I just think that there was this great hunger for something like the Salvation Army Kroc Center.
I think Joan Kroc chose wisely when she gifted her $1.5 billion to the Salvation Army to build community centers, and that's because the Salvation Army has a long-standing reputation of turning no one away.
Many of the families couldn't afford this, and there were possibilities and scholarships and everything else that allowed them to be able to have something that they never thought that they'd be able to be a part of.
It's still today, I sometimes have to pinch myself and say, did this really happen here?
It's one thing to have a world-class facility, but that's easy. It's easy to have something beautiful. The challenge and the expectation on her part, in her wisdom, was to provide a platform for people, regardless of socioeconomic status, what school they went to, that anybody could walk in here and have an equal opportunity to be exposed to greatness and to find their way.
We are better because of the Salvation Army in our community. We are better because of the Kroc Center. Families' lives are touched and changed. Individuals' lives have been touched and changed at levels that no one will truly understand.
Everybody at their core wants to contribute or be a part of something greater than themselves. And this place gives us a chance to do that.
If I had the opportunity to meet Joan Kroc, and I hope one day I do, I would thank her. I'd get in line behind a lot of people to thank her, and I would try to communicate to her what her gift did for my community.